Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of my WWE Challenge Run on TEW IX. We are here for our first premium live event, Bad Blood 2024. We are in front of 23,221 people in Arthur Ashe Stadium, and we've got a pretty good show lined up, I believe. But first of all, we have got our pre-show, which starts in a bout that had terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat as AOP defeats Cedric and Ashante when Akon pinned Ashante with the last chapter, gets a 43 rating. This is very much just kind of opening the show with them, letting them get a win under their belts, nothing else to it. That's kind of what we've got for the first few matches on the pre-show, and after that we go into a abysmal pre-show match. Piper Niven defeats Tamina in 7:21 by pinfall with a Michinoku driver, getting a 41 rating. I read abysmal and then remembered it was Tamina, so that somewhat makes sense. And then we've got 2 more matches to go. The first of which gets a 61 rating, which is quite nice. In a decent pre-show match, Ilya Dragunov defeats Grayson Waller in 8:39. And then finally, we have a terrible pre-show match in which the Wyatt Six, Eric, Joe and Dexter defeat Legado del Fantasma in 8:50 when Joe Gacy pins Angel. It was meant to be a car crash, just getting the crowd ready for the main show. I mean, they're expectant / simmering, so that seems like a good thing, and gets us a 52 rating as we head into the first match of the main show. And that gets a 72 rating, which is quite nice. In a decent match, Solo Sikoa defeats Sami Zayn in 11:21 by pinfall with a Samoan spike. A pretty good match there. 61 wrestling rating, 67 for the crowd. Nice opening match. And after that, Solo proceeds to continue the attack, hitting multiple Samoan spikes, splashes, and eventually Sami Zayn is taken out on a stretcher as Solo Sikoa stands tall. A segment rating of 71 for that. And I believe we've got Finn Balor and Damian Priest up next. It is indeed, and it gets another 71 rating. Finn Balor defeats Damian Priest in 13:12 by submission with a Fujiwara armbar following interference from JD McDonough. So in this, I'm thinking as Damian Priest is getting ready to finish Finn Balor off, referee is distracted. JD kind of yanks down on Damian's arm, pulling him over the top rope, almost dislocating the shoulder, and in that moment Finn hits his dropkick into the corner but directly into the arm, and then as Priest comes back out the corner, he locks straight into the armbar and gets the tap out. Priest not happy that he's been forced to do that and probably going to be seeking revenge, but very nicely the crowd is very hot at the moment, which bodes well for us. Next we have just a little video recap of Shinsuke winning the Battle Royal in order to face Cody Rhodes, which is our next match. And we've got them set to steal the show. And it's not amazing, but in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Cody Rhodes defeats Shinsuke Nakamura in 14:39 by pinfall with a Crossroads. It gets a 68 rating, so it's pretty good, but not amazing. 70 wrestling rating, 74 crowd rating. Not entirely sure why it gets a 68 then. Shinsuke doesn't seem to be doing too well. He's got declining physical ability, so I imagine that is going to have somewhat of an impact on his matches. After that, we just have Cody celebrating with the crowd, getting a 75 rating, which is quite nice. And next up, we have a little interview backstage. Drew is asked by Kathy Kelly about tonight's Hell in a Cell match. He promises to beat CM Punk so badly, he's not just going to get sent to SmackDown, he's going to leave the WWE, whether that's because he's so hurt he can't compete, or because he's so hurt he doesn't want to be put through that again. Drew absolutely wants to destroy CM Punk tonight. And he's going to get his chance because Hell in a Cell, there's nowhere for either of them to run. And next up, in a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd but subpar wrestling, Nia Jax defeats Bayley in 8:59 by pinfall with a standing leg drop after a distraction by Tiffany Stratton. This was intended to calm the crowd down a bit before we build back up towards the Hell in a Cell main event. It gets a 57 rating, which is pretty decent for a calm the crowd match, and Nia making defense number 2 of her title. Following that, we do see Tiffany Stratton. She's considering cashing in that Money in the Bank contract on Nia, but she decides no, not the time to do it. And luckily for her, Nia Jax doesn't notice how close she was to giving the referee the case. And after that, we've got a little video package just hyping up Gunter versus Sheamus, showing the history of their matches last year and WrestleMania 39, Clash at the Castle, all of that being shown. And hopefully, I think this could be a really good match. And it is a pretty good match in a wild brawl that had a great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Gunter defeats Sheamus in 15-18 by pinfall with a lariat, gets a 77 rating for the overall match, an 82 for the wrestling rating. We also used a creative finish in this, which was a success, which is very nice to see. And after the match, we have Gunter offering to shake Sheamus' hand, and he does shake his hand. So after everything that these two have put each other through, there's that bit of respect at the end of the match to say, you know what, we've beat the life out of each other, but I can respect how hard you work in this ring. Next up, we've got a hype video of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. It's important to note, if Rhea doesn't win this match, then she can no longer challenge for Liv Morgan's WWE Women's World Championship. And in a 69 rated segment about her good heat and decent wrestling, Liv Morgan defeats Rhea Ripley in 14:08 by pinfall after a distraction from Finn Balor. So he wasn't meant to get involved. However, all he does is just appears on the ramp. He's not actually like trying to get involved. He was banned from ringside, uses the little caveat, well, I'm only on the stage. And as Rhea's looking up at him, Liv Morgan just gets a quick roll up, feet on the rope, 1, 2, 3, steals the win. And unfortunately for Rhea Ripley, that means she is unable to challenge Liv for the title again. Rhea is furious in the ring, slamming the mat, and Liv stood up on the ramp in Dominic's arms as they celebrate her win. Next, we have a video package focusing on the Bloodline versus the Usos. Of course, this was meant to be a handicap match, but Tonga Loa has broke his collarbone, so isn't going to be in the match. And it's instead a tag team match, which gets a 65 rating as the Bloodline defeat the Usos in 16-19 when Jacob pinned Jimmy with a Samoan drop. We also had another creative finish. This one was also a success. The way I'm picturing the creative finish is Jimmy and Jay hit a double super kick on Tama Tonga. Jay jumps over the top rope, gets caught by Jacob, who throws him across the announce table. And then as Jimmy's going up for the splash, Jacob sneaks into the ring and catches him mid-splash into the Samoan drop, picking up the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. And we do also have Jimmy Uso sustaining a swollen calf muscle, but I can't see that keeping him out of action for too long. Let's have a quick look if that had a big impact on the match. It was penalised for being disrupted by injury, but I can't see it being too much of an issue. And that means all we've got left is our main event. Oh no, first of all, we've got the Bloodline. So Solo Sikoa comes out and joins his Tama and Jacob, as does Tonga Loa, and they stand all acknowledging Solo Sikoa as the tribal chief, as Jimmy and Jay are left lying on the floor underneath them. And now that means all we've got left is the main event. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are going to hell. A 72 rated segment for the hype video. Drew coming out to the ring gets a 66 rating. CM Punk coming out to the ring gets a 75. And now hopefully this match is an absolute banger. And it gets a 73 rating. Not fantastic, if I'm being honest. It was about that had superb wrestling and great heat. CM Punk defeats Drew McIntyre inside the cell in 28 minutes 18 seconds by submission with an Anaconda Vice. 86 wrestling rating, 80 crowd rating, gets a 73. I don't really understand that. Drew McIntyre also straining his wrist, but hopefully similar to the injury that we had for Jimmy, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. And apparently there's a little bit of backstage heat on CM Punk because it's felt that he caused it. But after the match, CM Punk stands tall on top of the cell, getting an 85 rating as Drew McIntyre is lay middle of the ring, blooded underneath him. So the overall show gets a 68 rating, which that feels like it's a bit harsh, although we have been penalised for not adding a match that we could no longer have. So it still feels a little bit harsh, but we're going to go through and tell CM Punk he was praised for a great performance. We've got to go and tell Sheamus, compliment him on a good performance, and the same for Gunter. And I think we'll give the other one to Sami Zayn because we'll give him some encouragement. They're all pleased. Injury review. So Jimmy is out for... No, he's not out. He's injured for 30 days, but he can work through it. And Drew is only out for 6 days, and again, he can work through it. So he'll be fit and ready for SmackDown, his new home. Popularity drops a little bit in Western Europe and things like that, but nothing to be too worried about. And let's have a little look at the media scrum. Jacob Fatu caused an injury to Jimmy Uso with a botch move. This isn't the first time he's hurt someone with a botch. It's just a freak accident. Jimmy is fuming. Okay. How concerned are you by the off night Santos Escobar had? It was a one-off. Same for Solo Sikoa. Any comments about Jimmy Uso after his injury? He will hopefully recover swiftly. Lack of hot storylines. Storylines take time to build. And Ludwig Kaiser, I think we will be offering a new contract. So getting a 68 rating, not too bad for us. And hopefully when we come to Crown Jewel in 27 days time, we will be able to get some hotter storylines going. Jimmy is very unhappy about the injury that he sustained, but hopefully we can sort that out and get everyone ready for Crown Jewel. And then after that, we've got Survivor Series. So let's go and get some good shows coming up. If you have enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Comment what you think we should be booking for Crown Jewel. Subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And thank you very much for watching.